We can see the spiritual seeking of these Magi. Many years ago, I was in a mission trip to Mexico, and we were finishing. It was the first mission trip we did with the OSU Newman Center. I was a seminarian. That means when you study to be a priest. Father Lucas, who is now in Portland, was leading the mission. Sister Teresa was there as well. And we ended the mission in the capital city of Mexico, and we wanted to celebrate. We were a group of 15, so we decided to go to a safe, cheap, healthy place called McDonald's. So I ordered my menu, as usual, and then Father Lucas comes after me, and I kind of overheard him say, I want menu number 3 or 4. And the free ice cream. And I hear him say, the free ice cream, and I look back, and I said, why did he get the free ice cream? And the lady working, she pointed to the sign above all the menus that said, if you see the sign, you get an ice cream for free. So I thought, first I felt a bit stupid, and then a little bit angry, and then a little bit envious with the ice cream of Father Lucas. But it lasted short because I bought the ice cream anyway. The point is, you need to see the signs. Sometimes the signs are subtle, but they are there. And this is what we celebrate today. Today we celebrate that God gives us signs, and that if we are open, if we seek, if we search, we will see them, and they will lead us to a deeper place. The word Epiphany means manifestation, the manifestation of God. Christmas is an epiphany because God was made visible in Jesus. Now we can see and touch the face of God in a sense. So in its sense, this season that we conclude today is a feast of the manifestation, the coming of Christ to the world. But this is a specific aspect of that manifestation, that God comes not only for a few people, but the Magi represent the whole humanity, all those who are seeking to grow and to find the baby. The mystery of Christ is given to all humanity, to those who came before Jesus and after Jesus and from all over the place. But more specifically, this feast of the Epiphany shows the dynamic of God's revelation, that God manifests himself, God shows himself, God gives us sign, but we need to search. We need to seek. And if we don't search, if we don't seek, we will miss the signs. We won't see them, and we will miss the reward. Look what the gospel says today. It says, the Magi saw his star at its rising and have come. You have this dynamic of the star. I need to point the star because the last day you're going to see it. They saw the star. That's what God does. He shines his light. He sends this epiphany, this star. But they respond. First they see the star, and then they respond to it. We have come. They responded to the manifestation of God. And that's how the whole spiritual life is. God shows himself, and then we need to respond, go to him. I used to inwardly complain to God in this way. Why are you not more evident? Why don't you show up more clearly? Why don't more people believe? Why don't you make like a billboard that says, here I am, and I am true, I am real? That's how I used to think. Always remember, if you think you are smarter than God, you are not in the right place. So always you need to learn why God does things as he does them. And this is what I'm learning, is that the problem is not the signs or the lack of evidence. The problem is the lack of openness, the lack of searching, the lack of seeking. As you have heard so many times, Blaise Pascal said, God shows himself so much so that those who seek will find, and those who don't seek will not find. So God gives so much evidence of himself so that those who are seeking like the Magi will find him. But also he gives so little evidence so that those who don't seek will not find him. So what really matters is not the size of the sign, but the inner openness, the inner search to become a spiritual seeker like the Magi. And that's why this gospel contrasts the Magi with this man called Herod, who was a king of the Jewish people in that time. Look what the gospel says, that when King Herod heard the Magi speaking of the newborn king, he was greatly troubled. He was not open. He was not searching to find Christ. His heart was closed. And if you think the Magi, they traveled from far away and they found the child. Herod was 5 miles away. Jerusalem and Bethlehem are very close, closer than Albany, Corvallis. But why he did not find the child? Because he was not searching. He was not seeking. He did not see the evidence because his heart was not open to receive. Who knows why? Maybe because of fear, maybe because of pride, maybe because of his inner lust, as you know that he was a lustful man. But he could not search, he could not seek, he did not want, and that's why he did not find. The evidence was not enough for him. So how can we become spiritual seekers at the beginning of this term and this 2018? Because this is key. This is something that no one can do for you. Obviously, it's something that you decide, but above all, it's a gift of the Holy Spirit. That inner search for more in spiritual life. The first thing we can do is to develop spiritual curiosity. What is spiritual curiosity? It's that first step that the Magi did. When you're curious about something, it's like, I don't know exactly what it is, but it seems interesting. You know when you're watching a YouTube video and then to the right, you see this next video that you don't know exactly what it is, but it seems interesting. And it leads you to the next one, and the next one. It never happened to me. I just tell you what people tell me. So what is that? It's curiosity. It's this curiosity, this intrigue for what is there. What is there? I want more. I want more. And that's what the Magi had. The gospel says that they saw the star at its rising. They saw the star when it was rising at the beginning. And that's the beginning of the whole journey of the Magi. This first step of being curious of what is this star? They did not have it all together. They did not have complete clarity, but they have an inner search for more. They were spiritually curious, and that star led them to Bethlehem. And in Bethlehem, they spoke with the scribes, and the scribes inquired in the Bible, and the scribes sent them to Bethlehem. And in Bethlehem, they saw the star again, and the star said, "Here is the baby." But it all started with the star at its rising. It all started with this response to this first shining of the star. This inner curiosity that has to be something more. So that's the first concrete way to become a spiritual seeker, to develop spiritual curiosity, to be curious. What is the life of this saint? What is this YouTube video? Obviously in the things of God, no? What is this book? Why is this person so happy? Why is this person like this? What is this event that they are inviting me to? How can I grow? When you don't have this curiosity, you're stuck. You stay there where you are and you don't long for more. And this is something that I don't know how to say. But you need to break that spiritual indifference to the things of God. And always be restless, to seek more, to find more, to long for more, like this Magi. Jesus says, search and you will find, but you will not find if you don't search. So develop spiritual curiosity. And the second thing is, what they did is they searched diligently. Actually, Herod, he got it right here. He said, go and search for the child diligently. And that's the second advice for this week is, every day at the end of the day when you're finishing, try to search for the baby diligently. This adjective is very important. Diligently. Search diligently. If you leave this church and you lose your wallet and you have your debit card and your driver license, you will search for it diligently. And if you had money, more. Because you want to find it. And that's what the Magi did, and that's what a spiritual seeker does. It searches for the baby diligently. So search for the baby diligently every day. Epiphany means that God sends many manifestations of His presence in your life. I would say even daily. For the Magi was not only the star. The star shows up 2 times in the gospel. Also, it was the Bible, and also it was a dream. If you read the gospel, 4 times these manifestations, these epiphanies, they were given to him. So at the end of the day, review your day. It's what is called the examination of conscience. And it's not only to see your failures or weaknesses, but also the manifestations, the stars that God shone upon you in this day. When you do this, you begin to see the presence of God more often in your life. When you begin to search diligently, He becomes more evident. It's like when you want to buy a car. Maybe now you're a college student and you are broken and you're trying to pay debt so you cannot buy a car. But do you know when you say, I'm going to buy this type of car, like Toyota, Corolla, or whatever, then you start to see it everywhere. Something similar happens when you love the Lord, when you love Jesus, when you believe in Him. You begin to see Him. You begin to see His hand in others, in nature, in events. But doing this exercise of every night, searching for Him diligently, allows you to make it more explicit. So that's the second advice, spiritual curiosity and searching for the child every night at the end of the day. And I finish with this. The spiritual search, being a spiritual seeker, is not ongoing. It leads to finding. The gospel says that when they got there, they prostrated themselves and did Him homage. The star had a transitional aspect. The stars shine in the night. In the day they don't shine because you have the light, you have the sun. So the star was guiding them, but when they find the sun, S-O-N or S-U-N, the star was gone because they found the object of their search. And when they did that, they prostrated themselves. God sets up the whole universe. God sets up the whole history of creation and the whole history of salvation for you to do Him homage. He does all that He does. And he did all that he did so you can find him. It's all about an encounter of love with him. So search, seek, you will find.